What's up, guys? That Really Gross Guy here, and we are back playing Warframe. So I'm going to show you guys a little bit of a tutorial and a little bit of stuff that I figured out about Captura mode, or Captura, I don't know, however you want to pronounce it. But we're going to get in here, and we are going to switch up chat. I don't want to have, I think that's all I'm going to get is chat blasting behind my head. Sorry about that. Anyways, let's head over and let's blow this window out. We are in the Corpus tile set currently. Probably my least favorite tile set, but I figured it worked fairly well with Volt. So, the controls. So, C is to toggle the free camera, which is going to pause everything and allow you to look around, do its thing. This is the very bare bones way to stop the camera and get your picture taken. To get into the deep dark settings, you hit X and you're going to see a whole lot of extra stuff. But the idea is, first off, to get into a pose or something that you wanted to capture, or be in the moments prior to getting in that pose, to slowly advance time till you get that pose just right. So what I mean by that is let's just do Volt's Ultimate. This is a very simple thumbnail slash screenshot that you could possibly take, and it's just using powers and then capturing that power in action. So right off the bat, we are going to be ready to hit C as quickly as possible. We are going to hit 4, and then it is going to pause time. And we can kind of look around, we can get an idea of what is going on, and we can slowly advance time to do a thing. So if you want, you can hold the right click to kind of get a very slow moving, to get the perfect angle, or kind of just do a little bit of like kind of what I'm doing now is this cool little thing, but that's not going to work with screenshots. Maybe for a video or something, you could kind of slowly do a pan around of a Warframe or something like that. But let's slowly advance time. Let's get a decent angle where I think it's going to look kind of cool. Okay, we did advance it just a little bit. Okay, so that kind of worked. Let's go with, well, you need to get a screenshot of something. So let's try and run that again. Get a screenshot. And capture. Come back. And it's a little bit busy. Oops. A little bit busy. But you can kind of get the gist of what's going on. Something closer to that. Maybe your colors. Maybe you just want to change your colors up. It's a very busy particle effect kind of ability. So depending on how you want to get a screenshot of that, you can. That looks okay. So let's get into our advanced settings, and then let's do our depth of field. So if you see the depth of field, what do you want to focus on? Do you want to focus on the frame? You know, because your frame's really far away, then you need to increase your depth of field. Or if he's close up like he is here, you will keep it low. But depth of field also is what's going to blur it out. The depth kind of going to blur out. See the background? Like if you look at the terminal, if I get closer to 0, it blurs that out. But it doesn't blur out my frame until I get way down to about 0. So I want to keep it so that you can see pretty much everything that my frame has. You know, all the way up to his hands. His fingertips are where it's starting to get blurry, and the edge of the gun starting to get a little blurry. And then exposure, you can work with exposure to get it dark. Kind of looks very ominous and kind of cool with Volt like that. But you can also crank it up, get it very, very bright. Depends on how you want it. But I usually start doing exposure when I check out I change this filter. So we can get way up if we really want to, which kind of looks actually pretty cool. or go way back. But I think right now we are going to get something we like, so we can contrast it. That looks pretty cool. That looks kind of cool. Blood. Ooh, that looks very edgelord for real. Bleach. Could bleach it out. I kind of do like some of the bleach looks. You get the right colors and settings. It looks pretty good. Burn. That looks, ooh. Looks kind of more ominous. There's the black and white. We have cross process, which does look really good. Cross process, I've noticed, looks very good in a lot of different settings. And then a negative. Negative's pretty opposite, let's just say. So let's run with, see how cross process looks, and then maybe we'll expose it a little bit more. Kind of like that. I kind of like that. I'm relatively amateur, so just deal with me. Deal with it. So let's get up to about there. I think that looks pretty nice. Now, it's not, when you take a snapshot, it's not going to include all this stuff, so don't worry about that. So light setup. Do we want to include some lights? Do we not? Do we want to keep that ominous look, or should we tweak this stuff? So we can change main lights to different colors to kind of alter the look. If we wanted to go into like a really saturated look, we get a bluish color. I'm looking at like the top of his helmet, so you can kind of see the differences. So you get a very white light, but you could also get like a, you know, like a reddish light. So I'm gonna kind of leave it the way it is, and let's go check brightness. How bright do we get? I think because he does have a lot of electricity around him, we could kind of brighten him up, but also leave part of him shaded, which is going to make it look kind of cool. Okay, there's another light. We see this down towards his crotchal region. We could also fill this light and turn this into a whiter light. It should technically kind of be an orangish light because that's what his powers are, but let's actually do that. Let's go a little bit more orangish because that's what his stuff is. Boom. The main light, we're going to leave that one because that looks as though the lights in the Corpus ship are what is lighting him up. And then the rim lights you'll see around there. And let's actually give that a dark tone so we get some cool shadows. Brightness isn't going to do much with a dark color. You can see a little bit of it down on his legs changing, but it doesn't really matter. But let's get this maybe amplified just a little bit. And this white light looks kind of good. Looks fairly decent. It doesn't look too like overexposed or underexposed. We could potentially once again go back up and work on exposure so that we can see those lights and make that difference. So actually I'm going to tone it down a little bit to get a little bit of an ominous look, but highlight the appropriate areas. So there's that. Slow motion. Gonna leave that. Don't want to advance time, and we don't want to do any of this stuff. This is a good way to set up the feel of the picture itself. We're actually going to do that here in a moment, but this is just a very easy, quick way to take a very easy picture. I'm going to turn off post-capture dialog. Basically, when you take a snapshot, it's going to say, we saved your file to this folder. I already know where all that stuff is, so I'm going to turn that off. So I'm going to eliminate the post dialog. It's either going to allow you to go look at that folder right away, or you're just going to continue on and take more pictures. So F6 is going to be my snapshot, and I will actually get out of here just like that, and I'm going to put a screenshot up of that picture in the Captura mode right now. So that's the way it's going to look. That's going to be a thumbnail on a future video. On top of that, I did, now that I think about it, I did this picture yesterday using, it was a thumbnail on a previous video, so you've probably already seen it, but this is a picture that I took using Octavia and Warframe. So pretty cool, pretty cool. That one, I'll show you a little bit more how that is a little bit more complex and how I got that picture. So right off the bat, I am going to get in here. I am going to spawn some enemies. I'm going to spawn, let's get in just some basic stuff. Let's get in 2 troopers and a lancer. Let's crank their level up so that I don't, like, accidentally one-shot them or something. Let's crank them up to level 50. And then let's simulate. You can only have 3 enemies in here at once. And I don't know if that's going to change in the future, but that's the way it is. I also would really, really like to see an alert status mode so that when these guys spawn in, they will always be... they will either be on alert status or they will not be on alert status. And maybe that status stays permanent so that I can get finishers off exactly when I want to. I would really like to have finishers that are like mid finisher. Like if I had my Nakana blade way up in the air right when I'm about to come down on the guy, I think that would look sick. On top of that, I'd like to be able to change my Warframe in this Captura mode. Not currently a thing. I don't know if it ever will be a thing, but that's just kind of something that I would like to see. But anyways, now that the guys are out and spawned, let's undo the free camera and get going. So what I'm going to do is I am going to blast through the air. And I don't think I got it off in time. I did not get it off in time. Let's see what this looks like. A nice explosion. Part of that actually does kind of look cool. If you could get in here... Oh, that big... Okay, let's see if we can just slowly... I'm not in a really cool stance to really warrant taking a snapshot, but you could imagine if I were to get down in here, I were to get into the settings, and I were to go to depth of field, and I were to focus on volt and blur out everything else. Yeah, let's get to volt. So this is kind of blurry-ish over here, but we're focusing on volt. We can kind of see that he's mid-combat, some sparks and stuff, but his stance isn't really cool enough to warrant taking a decent snapshot. So what I'm actually going to do is, let's do this. Let's get out of the aim mode. Let's go bullet jump. Alright, so it's kind of difficult. You can set your hotkeys differently. But what I had to do is I actually had to bullet jump towards him, aim, fire, and then hit the pause button, basically, the free camera button. So what you're seeing here is me mid-flight and taking some shots at this Grenier. So if you want to come all the way up in here and kind of get like a cool look at what's going on here, we can get in once again. Work with our depth of field, which is basically the first thing I do. So you can kind of see volt there. I think we're a little too far away. I'm probably not going to take a snapshot of this, but we want to see our volt. Yeah, so volt exposure. We don't want to crank it up too much because it's killing our color. But we can kind of get in like that. It kind of looks a little bit cool. And then saturation, I kind of want to keep saturation up a little bit, but grain, not seeing a whole lot of difference in that. And then 3 light setup we could turn off. It's not doing so much from all the way back here, but I want to actually advance time just a little bit and see if we can. So, and then we will have to also once again work with our depth and work with that. So pretty cool, so we can get a little bit of that. If we go back to our regular mode, maybe we get a better angle on it. Maybe we kind of do something from this angle, which does actually look kind of cool, to be honest with you guys. And then let's go back in, change our depth of field, kind of make sure we have a focus on what's going on, and then pull that away so we can see. Alright. Looks kind of cool. Looks kind of cool, to be honest with you guys. I think I would want to advance time a little bit more. It's kind of killing the angle on where my gun is currently sitting, and it doesn't actually look very realistic, but this is how you slowly progress to where you get the right snapshot you really want. Then, once again, like I said, you'll get in, you'll tweak the colors and the brightness and the lights and stuff to get that proper shot. There is a little bit too much color on my volt You can barely tell what he is. So something like that, you would maybe, not saturation, exposure. Maybe pull down the exposure a little bit. Scene lighting. Should we light any of this up? Not too sure we do. I think we leave that off. But there's that. There's that little snapshot. Kind of cool. I might as well just take a quick screenshot or something like that. But there's that. He will continue firing once you hit the slow button. It will continue. It'll toggle the fire on so that it will continue to fire as you advance time. And then once again, like I said, if I were to fire and then capture, advance time, continue firing, and if I were to leave, continue firing until you click and turn that off. But just for the sake of getting one last little snapshot, something very simple and quick, let's run something like this. Oops. Okay, maybe not. He's dead. Let's I didn't hit the button fast enough. So let's get in there. Let's go that. Let's spawn more enemies and simulate. And then let's get in here and let's try and get a first power. Oh, wrong button. Alright, so we could get in, do another ability type power. Maybe, well, the particle effects are so strong and the brightness is so strong. Can't even tell I'm really a Volt other than the fact that I'm shooting a giant lightning beam at these guys. Maybe from here would be a little stronger. Maybe something like that. And then get in here, change our depth of field. So you can see I'm a Volt. I'm totally facing the wrong way. Kind of goofy. So there are some tweaks that will have to happen to get these just right. Exposure, do not want to overexpose. Don't want to underexpose. I do like the little bit more ominous looks. Let's keep field of view a little bit close. We can also switch back to like a bleach or something else. Get these colors just right. The contrast actually might look a little bit okay, depending on our saturation level. Get some good saturation with the electricity, but not so much on the other things in the level. Exposure, keep that exposure low. Scene lights? Do we work with scene lights? I don't think so. I don't think so. If we do, we want to crank it way down. Crank it way down. But yeah. And then we can rotate our lights a little bit to kind of get that perfect angle on Volt. Maybe something along those lines, and then the brightness of the scene. But keep that down. So yeah, there's that. We could take a snapshot of that if you really wanted to, something like that. You're going to have to probably try the same thing repetitively to get that just perfect picture. But you can also advance time to potentially... Oops. A little bit too much. But that looks pretty cool. That looks pretty ominous. You see that? I wonder if I should go all the way up to him, or you should see him in that pose over the shoulder of this Grineer. That looks pretty cool. Oh, that was an accident. I didn't mean to advance time. That's the worst part. I wish I could reverse time. But you can't. You can't. Maybe I do. Maybe I do just crank all the way up in there, something like that. That looks kind of cool, but I think I would prefer to get up in his face if I wanted to see this really cool look. Something like that. Let's get in, change the depth. Yeah, that looks ominous. He looks scary AF. Alright. Just like that. I like that. I like that. So I am going to snapshot it once again. Let's just get out of there. Make sure we have a cool angle. And snapshot. So I will, once again, I am going to put up the snapshot of how that came out, and hopefully you guys like that. Now you can do this with any frame. You can either run with powers, you can either do bullet jump stuff like I was doing just a second ago, capture, very similar to what I did with Warframe. Octavia is something along these lines, and this is probably my favorite pose so far. It just looks really, really, really good. Let me change my depth of field once again. So a pose like that. Now if I could just... Okay, he wasn't shooting. He wasn't shooting, so unfortunately I won't get that burst shot coming out of Volt, which I did get out of Warframe or Octavia. But yeah, there's a looks like a falling down Volt with, you know, that's not firing. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you learned something. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have not checked out the music portion of my tutorial on the Octavia thing, check that out. And I do videos every day. I do mastery rank stuff, so yeah, stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you are interested in more Warframe content or some other games. I got some other games on here. Thank you, and until next time, guys. Blah!